How's it going, guys? Welcome to Leicester Fan TV. Today's going to be the match review. I'll say right now, I'm not going to be so blue tinted as normal because we've got to agree that last night's game was not good enough. We will have a guest in after the intro, but we want your thoughts, we want your comments. Get yourself in. I've got a few topics to talk about on my notepad today, like Brendan Rodgers normally does. And we'll get into it straight after the intro. Let's go.
Welcome to Leicester Fan TV. Are you ready for the show? Thanks to our sponsors, ADT Taxis, Everards, Pukka Pies, Pink Car Leasing, Leicester Riders, Hollogram, The Fox's Arms, Peter's Pizzeria, Hope Against Cancer, and Newby Co estate agents. We want your views, we want your comments, so join us live. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
So, like I said, I'm not going to be as blue tinted as I have been the last few weeks. I wouldn't call myself blue tinted, but I've been a bit more kind of optimistic. And after last night, you can't really be optimistic with that. As Dara says, enough is enough. And I wouldn't say I'm still on the Rodgers inside, but we all know something has to change. We all know that's the case. I don't know if Rodgers is going to fix the issue, but something has to change in the club. And if it is him going, then I think it maybe I don't know. I'm not going to say Rodgers out, but it's like maybe it's time for something has to change really to maybe freshen up the team or something. But we will bring the guest in for today. Tom, how are you, mate?
Trying to wake up still after that game yesterday.
Yeah. Obviously, I'll get your first thoughts on the game. And obviously, then there's a few topics on my notepad, but going straight into it, what is your kind of overall kind of thoughts on the game, and really like why even Rodgers said that we couldn't fault the what the players had done on the pitch, but it just didn't look at that like that at all, did it?
I think Brendan Rodgers was watching a different game. Let's be honest, first 15 minutes, I was really up for it. The crowd was up for it. The whole of the stadium was up for it. We were getting into their faces. We were doing what you'd have to do against a good side. We were getting stuck in. We were chasing with it. We were harassing them down. And then we made one mistake at the back, and that one mistake cost us the long ball forward, and everyone had shot forward thinking, oh, we're going to really push it in, push. Sadly, they got one ball down the line, and next minute, Sancho's rounding the goalkeeper. And look, Danny Ward, for me, doesn't need to come off his line that quickly. He's a bit rash, and decision-making wasn't the best there. He should have stayed on his line. Made it harder for Sancho to finish the chance. As soon as he comes off, a player like Sancho, we just random and took that home for fun. But after that, mate, what can you say? It was Man United. Up to half-time, it was all Man United. Barnes had a shot that went just wide of the post, but honestly, I can't sit here and say we created that much. Second half, like I said on United stands last night, if we're honest, Leicester came out for 10 minutes and gave it a go. The free kick and the save by De Gea is world class. That's a world class save. It's going in the top corner. Madison thinks it's in. I thought it was in. It's a wonderful save, but we didn't create anything enough for me. We really didn't create enough in that 10 minutes to do anything. And well, there's the difference between your two managers. Terhard could see there was a problem, so he goes and gets his experience. And look, we all know we haven't got the money that Man U have, but go and gets Casemiro off the bench, and he just he turned the game off at that point. He brought someone to put his foot on the ball. He made the game look easy. It made me roll back the ears to think Cambiasso was on the pitch. The ball was coming to him, and people run at him, and he was just stopping it down and just playing a little ball sideways, backwards, chip over the top. You name it. He knew where the ball needed to go. Then they bring on they bring on Ronaldo, and the gaming will get quickens up again, because even at his age, he was still tearing hard defence apart. And his bicycle kick at the back post. Generally, what can you say? They were the better team, mate, and Leicester deserved what they got, and that was nothing last night for me. And bar 15 minutes of really having a go, and we did have a go, and closing them down. That was it. There was 15 minutes of the next, well, as you say, the next hour and 15 minutes of football was dead in the water for me. A very, very poor performance. And for me, the stadium was deflated. As soon as that goal went in, you could see the players were deflated. The stadium was deflated. And you could see everyone looking around thinking, how are we getting back into this football match? Because you just could not see how it was going to happen.
Yeah, and going forward with that, then obviously we were at Peter Pizzas yesterday, and the team news came out, and we saw the likes of Ndidi in the back line. We saw Thomas in the back line as well. 2 changes into the back line against a team that realistically we had to kind of was it a must-win game against United? Maybe not, but it's a game that you should really put your stamp on it and actually show you could have a chance in winning the game. And I've got to admit, from watching the game live, I didn't think United were anywhere near good at all, but we were just even worse. With the 2 players that we kind of put in that game, in obviously Thomas and Ndidi, what's your kind of take on that? And with what Rodgers has said to the reasons putting them in?
Well, by the sound of it, the team, what I'd put out in the middle of the day was the team, and that was Amati was going to start before the kickoff. Obviously, then Daniel Amati had an illness, and a couple hours before kickoff, they thought about putting him on the bench. He was on the bench to start with, and obviously he didn't even make the matchday squad. So, it wasn't the team he wants to play against Man United, and Diddy was not going to start in that centre-half position. It would have been Daniel Amati, but he wasn't fit. He was ill, so they changed it around. As you say, then you got opportunities. Luke Thomas, he didn't have a bad game. Apparently, he had a great game, according to Brendan, after the game. And I just sat there and I was trying to pick the brains from it. To hear a manager say that a left back had a great game. Kasani had been dropped because we conceded 10 goals, but he kept picking James J this time, and he moved him to the right and put Thomas left back. It was a strange one. If I'm honest, there's only one player for me who really comes out with any credit yesterday, and that was Boubakary Soumaré. I thought bar a couple of times where he was a little bit slow to release the ball, I thought he had a solid game in the middle of the park. He staked another claim why he should be starting. He offers that different type of defensive midfielder to Ndidi. Ndidi can win the ball, but he hasn't got the passing range. Boubakary Soumaré can get the ball and can pass it and can go past people for fun, and goes on amazing little dribbles after time, and you think he's going to lose it, but he puts out that big long leg and just pokes it to where it needs to go. They're one really. Soumaré comes out with credit for me.
And then we obviously touched on the midfield as well. Youri Tielemans. For me, there was a lot of people saying around me that he's saying that the moment he came off, we kind of lost the ball a lot more. But I thought he was the one on the pitch that lost the ball the most. And he was just, for me, he was probably the worst player on the pitch that day.
If I had £1 for every time he lost the ball, I'd be 50 quid up tonight yesterday. He gave the ball away a lot. He did some very good stuff in the middle of the park. Let's not denying that. At times he did do it, move the ball. Well, we'd seen him, but there was too many stray passes. The amount of times that we put under pressure that he tried to, and then we'd lose it, or he'd run forward and lose it. The next minute we're on the back foot. Look, it's one game. You can't really have a go. I have to give a lot of respect to Youri Tielemans.
Yes,
for
professionalism,
and for everything the way Fofana had been compared to him. He's not made once. He's not spat his dummy out. He's been professional. He's played week in, week out when asked to. Yes, we all know the levels aren't there what he was before for some reason. But also for him to come out this morning and release a statement saying that he knew that it's not good enough at the moment. That's sign of a young man who's got a lot of responsibility on the shoulder. And he knows at the moment he does not want to leave this football club with it being relegated or struggling at the bottom end of the Premier League table. He wants to leave this football club on a high. And look, at the moment, should he be in the team? Probably not, if we're honest about it. But it's hard to pick players because we've got so little players with that creativity in the team, and that we all know he can make something happen unexpected at times.
Yeah, obviously with Yuri, he is staying now, isn't he? The window's closed. No one's coming for him. I think Phil said no one would after the kind of performance he did yesterday. But again, you can't fault his professionalism on the pitch, and he still plays when he gets put on the pitch. So yeah, a lot of people are saying Vardy is not the player. He needs to start getting dropped. For me, yes, he's been incredible for the last 10 years, but he is starting to get to the point now where is it time to change it up, put someone like Daka and an actual one to start with, and then maybe do bring Vardy on as a sub 60, 70th minute. I don't know. What's your kind of take on Vardy at the moment?
Saying that he's done, don't think he is. I think there's still life in an old dog yet. I've seen Tony Cottee playing down at Filbert Street, scoring goals at the age of 35, 36 and making it look fun. Look, we've seen Vardy goes on these spells of dry runs 6, 7, 8, 9 games before, and then he goes on for a 10, 12, 13 game scoring goals for fun. Let's not beat around the bush. He's not had any serves this season. The only time he had any serves was Chelsea away, and yeah, do you know what? He could have got a couple of goals at the weekend, but so be it. I'd rather he was in those chances and being on the end of those balls and putting them wide than, look, at the moment, you tell me that we're going to change shape. We don't change shape because Rodgers is a dinosaur in some ways, and he will only play one way he knows, and that is either a 4-2-3-1 or a 4-3-3, but he does not play two strikers for some reason. And the only time we've ever played two strikers, Rodgers, is when we played three at the back.
And we've lost Barnes.
And we've played wing backs and we've lost Barnes, and you've lost all that width, and you have to use your full backs or your wing backs as your width. I look at the game last night, and I said it afterwards. There's stuff to take from Man United's performance, what Leicester didn't do. You looked at the Man U performance last night, and every time they got the ball, the first thing the wingers did was when they stood on the touchline and made that pitch as wide as possible. Why? Yeah. Because they made Leicester run after that ball for the 90 minutes. Get the ball. We're going to switch it, boys. We're not going to switch it just between 3/4 of the pitch. We're going to the whole pitch. And you're going to run for that ball, lads. And we're going to make you cross that field up and down and watch it go over your heads for fun. That was the difference. Leicester got the ball. As soon as it went wide to Barnes, you're thinking, right, where we go next? Where's the switch? Oh, well, there's no switch because James Justin is currently standing on the 18-yard box. Right on the corner. Yeah. There's no width. There's no width there. It doesn't matter. He's coming in at the back post. You watch Man U, they were width, and then their central midfielders were flooding the box. We didn't do it, and we haven't done it enough this season. There's just no width in that team. Barnes, just for some reason...
Yeah, he just didn't want to run at Delok, did he? He just didn't want to at all.
Both fullbacks on a yellow card before half-time. Why was Rodgers not saying to Barnes, Justin, make that pitch as wide as possible, get yourself 2-on-1 on their players, make them panic. When you got an opportunity, go at them. You might not get win a foul in the whole of the next 45 minutes, but if they make one run tackle and you get in behind them, the referee is going to have to produce a second yellow card. It just beggars believe we got the ball, and every time we got to them, we came inside or we played a little ball backwards or sideways again. And it's just like, I'd expect for a manager who's paid 10 million a year, the fourth highest premium in the Premier, to be saying to the wingers or to the fullbacks, get at their fullbacks. I just did not get it, mate, for me.
No, Neil does say here, United were there for taking, we didn't do it. I agree. Obviously, with me saying how kind of bad we were, and that, for me, it's probably one of the worst performances we've had. United really weren't anywhere near the quality that we know they can be. For me, they got one goal pretty much out of nowhere. And then, obviously, yes, it was pretty much a tap-in. But since then they put Casemiro on, they put Fred on later in the game. And just felt like they sat back. It's like, if we pushed them in the last 10 minutes, we really could have gone for them. And we could have probably took a draw out of that game.
Mate, Jake's just put a really good point, and if you can bring it up, mate, it's a point that I was absolutely furiated once again. But the manager, who is for me, I think Darren Bent, Talksport, goes by an area. He's trying to get himself sacked. He wants to go. I feel for Leicester players being told week in, week out that they aren't good enough. That manager wanted other players, and isn't a confidence booster either. Rodgers needs to either pull his finger out and kick out the door, we are good enough. And I believe that squad is good enough. That squad hasn't changed that
It
much.
is. Yeah,
I do
I
think
said that.
we are weaker. I completely agree we are weaker. You lose Casper Schmeichel, who's a leader on and off the pitch straight away. I don't care what anyone says. He might be getting on, but he's still probably 5 times better than Danny Ward in goal, even at his age. You lose Wes Fofana. Now, even though he only played, a quarter of the season, the difference he made when he came back was phenomenal in some ways. And then you go and lose 14 goals combined in assists and goals in Luke Luckman, who didn't come back. Now, don't wrong. Luckman didn't play every week. He wasn't consistent all the time, but he gave you an option that we didn't have.
Yeah.
We now haven't got that option. We've only got Albrighton who can play on the right hand side of that of that wing position really now, or Perez. And Perez,
yeah, I was gonna say Perez, but again, he's not that sort of suited player, is he?
So it isn't as strong as we were last year. But is that team of 21 players, in my view, 21 players, because we've already been told that Vestergaard isn't going to play much. He doesn't rate Sion-Chu, what is a criminal act, because for me, if you're a good manager, you get Sion-Chu back to the levels he was at before.
Yes.
We've seen how good he was. If you're a manager of getting paid X amount of money and you're that good, you'd be able to get your arm around that player, showing video clips like he did with Maddison, because when Maddison was playing poorly, he took him to side, he showed him video clips. Next, 3 weeks later, Maddison was back with a bang, and the whole of our season was brilliant. Why has he not done that with Sion-Chu? No, he just called Sion-Chu out in a post-match interview against Spurs. He's then called him out again yesterday and said, in all due respect, that Cags' performance are nowhere near the level. Well, what does he want to do? If you're going to say that, well, if I was a player coming into a training ground thinking, right, ready for this week, and you get to the game, you're not playing, you're on the bench, you don't come on, then the manager said that, you'd be thinking, what is the point of me coming training every day?
Mm-hmm.
Why should I bother? I'm not going to get a game. I'm not going to get anywhere near the first team now. I've been told that. For me, you haven't got any players coming in, so work with what you've got and get his confidence back. Give him a run of games.
It doesn't help that you're bringing in someone like that Wout Faes now that Sion-Chu, when Fofana was like rumoured to go, I bet Sion-Chu was more like, here we go, this is my chance to try and get back into the first squad. And now we bought another defender. From what Rodgers said last night, it's like, well, okay, he's just got no chance anyway. So this Wout Faes guy is going to be number 2 in the centre-back role now. Well, obviously not actually on his back, but you know what I mean? Second place spot for him. And then my next comment was about Rodgers' comments, but we've obviously kind of already spoke about that. Going into the Brighton game then, any hopes there? It's probably going to be even harder than the United game because they are on form. They did lose to Fulham last week, in midweek this week, just gone. But again, it's still going to be a tough game against them.
Oh, mate, this is no easy game. Brighton been flying. They were flying at the beginning of last season. We went there and we lost 3-2, I think it was.
I think it was 2-1 when we had two
headers. And VAR and all that malarkey. That was it. Yeah, look, if I'm honest, I think he got it wrong by chucking Thomas in yesterday. He didn't do bad, but I just think it's wrong. Then calling out Cassania, say, well, we've conceded 10 goals in the first 3 games, so I thought I needed to change it. But you're taking out a Belgium international who really hadn't put his foot wrong. Maybe you could say for the Sterling second goal he should be covering, but the damage already done that they broke through the middle of the park in the first place. Obviously, we know the back line's going to change again. Brighton's full. But we all know that the back line will change again at the weekend. Obviously, we know Danny Ward will start. For me, I'm really at my tether with Danny Ward. He feels with no confidence on the pitch, and it some way proves why he's been a backup keeper for so many years. And even at Huddersfield, they got promoted. They didn't go and sign him as a Premiership goalkeeper. They left him at Liverpool. It starts to think, having been at Stockport and saw Everson play, I would give Daniel Everson a game. I generally don't think there's no harm in changing it in there. If you're going to change Cassania for Thomas, then you could change Everson for Danny Ward.
I said at the start of the season before the even window opened that, when Casper went, so near the end of the window, I said that out of all the keepers we've got, I think Iverson had more of a chance because he played in the Championship pretty much the whole season, got player of the season for their team as well. Yeah. And it's kind of like, you surely give him a shot. And the one reason why I'm kind of now swaying to the other side of the fence is because Rodgers really isn't changing players that, for me, doesn't deserve to be in that squad at the moment. Obviously, Danny Ward, Yuri Tillemans at times. Don't get me wrong, he did do some all right stuff yesterday, but most of the time he kind of is the one losing the ball a lot. And then
I was going to say, don't get me wrong, mate. Yesterday was a prime example where I get so annoyed. So the Brentford home game, we're 2-1 up. What was it, 10 minutes to go? I'm looking at Danny Ward. The ball comes to him. Hold the ball, game management, dark arts, kill the game off. No, he throws a quick ball out. We then get mucked around in left back position with Marty. We lose the ball somewhere else. Before we know it, it's in the back of the net. All comes down to game management. Last night, though, when we're losing a game and you want the game speeding up a bit, and you got Brendan Rodgers even pointing at his watch going, come on. And Danny Ward's taking between 20, 40 seconds to set something up because he does not know whether to go long or play it to feet to Johnny Evans or Daniel Amati. I was just thinking, why don't you do this in the Brentford game? Take your time with it and not make a decision and kill some more time. But no, we chose in the game we were losing to muck around with the ball at the back. So yeah, I just generally think that it's time for a change. I really do. Like I say, there will be changes, mate. There'll be changes. I generally feel that Cassagna will come back in at the weekend to play with his Belgian counterpart. I think JJ will go back onto the left. I'll be very surprised if he didn't. I can see Rodgers being a bit stubborn. I think we're getting that with Rodgers now, very stubborn at times. I think Samari will keep his place. He generally feel like he deserves to keep the place. I think we all know that the rest of the team probably picks itself. I'd be very surprised if I didn't start, mate. His record against Brighton, as I spoke to Brighton's TV the other night and said about it, is second to none. He always seems to score against them at the Amex, and I would be very surprised if he didn't, mate.
Yeah, I think that's one where, for me, don't get me wrong, I still believe in Vardy. The moment he gets that one goal, he will kind of smash it on fire. But again, maybe it is time, in my eyes, to see someone like Daka come in for a full game and see what he can put together. Yes, people are saying that he's had enough time in 60-minute games and 30-minute subs. And I'm like, at times you can't be expected. And even last night, bringing him on in 4 minutes to go, are you even expecting him to even try? Like, if anything, for me, you'd put all three, Vardy, Kel, and Daka up all top just to try and force something in that net.
But that was my biggest thing, and I made it quite clear when I shouted that last night in the ground, was what are you doing? With 4 minutes to go, you're bringing on Daka. That's your second sub, by the way, when you could have made another 3 and try and change something up. And why are you taking off Vardy? Now, much as Vardy's not been great in the game or didn't really have any service in the game, still, you only need to have that one chance, and if he connects it right, it's going in the net. Bringing Daka on as well would have been another threat with Ian, actually. So why not take off Undidi? You've got nothing to lose by going for the game and trying to get a point.
What's the difference between 1-0 and 2-0?
Exactly. Why didn't we change it up? And even if I'd rather we'd lost 2-0 last night and at least try to go for the last 10 minutes. But then with 4 minutes to go, do you know what? Let's take Vardy off. And whatever was said between Vardy and Brendan, Vardy did not look happy that he'd been taken off. Now, and I'm not having people say, well, he had just been Cardiff. Well, there was other people on the pitch that had been carded and they hadn't been taken off. So for me, another little bit mistake from Rodgers there that he took Vardy off and he shouldn't have done. It should have been someone out the back line and just gone gun-ho.
Yeah, Jake says here as well, saying Gary Ward had time. He launched the ball up when he didn't need to. Again, game management, you don't just shove the ball up. A lot of the time, when he passed the ball to like someone like Evans, that's when you needed to boot the ball. And then when we didn't pass it and booted the ball, it was when we needed to pass it from the back. So it's here or there with Ward. Again, I still think Iverson deserves a chance. Again, like you say, if he's changing Thomas into the team and indeed in the back line, why not change your goalkeeper? It might change. It might actually give us a win. Even though it's not all about one player saving you a game, but that one save that Iverson makes in the game would be incredible.
I'm reading that bottom comment where I thought it was quite funny. Vardy said, what's this crap we play? If that's true, then I won't blame him because he has said that against Pure, weren't it? What's that D doing after we lost to Man United last time 1-0?
But again, I'll ask you this question now. Rodgers in, Rodgers out, because you said you were kind of, I don't know if you said you were on the fence last night before the game, but after that performance, for me, it's probably one of the worst performances out of the season. I think other than last night, I thought we had an okay performance level, but we kind of just dropped off most games now. But last night again, just wasn't anywhere near the performance that we wanted.
Before the game when we sat in Pizzeria having a nice meal and chatting between us, where I think we're all 50-50, weren't we? Where there was a few out, a few in, and there was probably me sitting on the fence. I generally never want a manager to get sacked. I generally that Rodgers is a very good manager at times and has done a lot for the football club. You can't take away the history he's created with the Community Shield, the FA Cup. But I think after last night's performance, and being that, again, it was 15 minutes of a performance, and then the team looked, as soon as the goal went, looked dejected. Different to the Southampton game, Rodgers seemed a bit more eager to try and get things to happen, but I didn't see that from the players. And that's when you start to question, have the players lost the respect? Have they lost the respect to what they're trying to do on and off the pitch, as in what's he's trying to play? And when a manager gets to that point, and for me, loses the identity what he had when he first came in, there's no identity to that team. What's our identity? How are we playing? Are we a quick ball team? Are we a counter-attack team? Or are we a team that's going to press, nick the ball, and then try and get a quick goal that way? There's no identity in that team anymore. And for me, once you get to that point, it's very hard to come back. Matt Piper made a good point, if I was honest, after the thing, and said he'd seen it once, and that was Southampton manager, obviously losing 9-0 twice, and both times everyone's like, that's it, he's gone, and he managed to turn it around. I don't know at this moment in time how Rodgers turns it round, and for me that means he has to go. My biggest concern is, mate, we've got 3 games now before the international break. And for me, the Brighton and Villa games are crucial. If we can't get four points out of them, we go into an international break with 1 point out of 8 games, and that would be devastating for me and for the players in some ways.
I said in the office, I went into the office today and I said to Phil that for me now, obviously the Brighton game for me is a kind of a different kind of story because they're in such good form. If we get anything there, I think even you would take a point at this point. But going into that Villa game, they are not in the best of form at all. People are saying that even Gerrard is one manager that kind of looking close to be the sacking as well. I think if we don't get anything there either, I think that is the point. I think I will say Rodgers out because you can't be that far in with games where you should be probably getting points in, and the likes of Villa, which we have to be getting 3 points surely at this stage in the season, and the way they're playing, it's
Can I ask you a question, Reedy? A lot of talk last night, and I tried to put on my Twitter about being positive, get behind the lads, and I think everyone did in the ground to start with.
Yes.
I felt like the ground was pretty loud at times in the first 15-20 minutes. And then when the goal behind, can you imagine in 2 weeks' time on the 10th of September, if we go a goal behind to Villa after 4 or 5 minutes, how toxic that ground's going to be? And everyone can say, well, we're saying this and we're putting ideas in. I'm just generally think I will go into a game and my season ticket is behind the dugouts. Now, I haven't sat there yet because I took my son and we have to move around to sit together. But at that game, I will be behind the dugouts, and it will be interesting to sit there and watch Rodgers to see how he is. And if we go a goal down to them, how the ground will change, because that game is massive. I don't care what anyone says. We talk about 6 points towards the back end of the season. That could be 6 points before the season even started. And if you're looking at 8 games in the international break, 1 point, you got 30 games to go and find another 39 points. It's not in a point a game anymore. You've got to find wins. So, look, it's a massive 2 weeks before we go to Tottenham. But for me, these 2 games against Brighton and Villa now are massive.
You've got to get 6 points really now to kind of maybe wouldn't say kickstart the season, but it's like the start of the season was quite bad, but this is kind of the kind of slow return. But Rodgers did say that he wasn't just going to let it drop, and he wants to try and get that first win and try and change it around. But again, I don't know if I can see him doing it either. But we will get into a quick score prediction for Brighton before we do go. Tom, what do you reckon?
Do you know, I'm trying to stay positive, and at some point our luck has got to change with VAR, with everything in the world at the moment. So look, I'm going to say 2-1 win. I do mean that, a 2-1 win, because I generally feel we have got a good record at Brighton's ground. Vardy's got a good record there, and I do feel that Vardy can go and get a goal and kickstart what he's doing. So I'm going to go 2-1 and Vardy to get a brace.
Oh God, I say I'm going to be down there. I'm not looking forward to the trip back. Let's just say that, because if we are in a losing position and we're on the way back on a coach for about 3.5 hours, I'm going to be honestly so depressed in my life. It's ridiculous. But I want to say a win. I think we're going to get a draw. I think it's going to be a 2-2 draw. I think Wout's going to score. I think he will start. I think he will score for some reason. I think he will get us that draw. Yes, I say Bob, and he will get a goal for us. I don't know why. I just have a feeling you come into that team like Fofana did straight in that Rennes game when he came back from injury to get us that goal to take us through. So hopefully he can be a big impact going into the Brighton game, and yeah, hopefully we can get at least a point, I guess. But
I'll put a spin on it. Let's put a spin on it. We beat Brighton. We beat Villa. We then maybe lose to Tottenham. You then go into national break, 8 games in, 7 points. It don't
and then
look
the
so
big boys.
And
it
then
don't
the
look
so
boys.
bad. We don't mention about that game yet. We'll just call them 21 seconds, okay?
Yeah,
you know, it could be a completely different kettle of fish, and we try and be positive we can on the channel. Reedy,
we always try, but
Reedy with his blue specs on. But let's just say we do that and go into it with 7 points from 8 games. Yeah, it's not been the greatest start, but we've got a couple of wins under our belt. But going to that, like I say, mate, my biggest concern, we go into that international break on 1 point and we've only got a draw on the board. That's when I think, if that was the case, and I do feel Rodgers will get to Spurs, because what you've got to remember as well, this season is not like any other season. Once we get to the 5th of November, we play at Everton away. I think then we've got Stockport and then West Ham. After those games, we then break up for a month. There's no football then to the 26th of December back at home to Newcastle United in the Premier League on Boxing Day. That then, if we're in a mess, gives whoever, if we do change it before then, an opportunity to come in and really get in with those players who haven't gone to a World Cup. So it isn't like a normal season. So they may be giving Brendan those extra few games, thinking, well, even if it doesn't work, we can get to the first international break and it hasn't worked out right. We'll make a change. We'll get someone else in. He's then got a month to work with the players, plus another month when they're not going to be playing any games, and maybe get a couple of friendlies set up to keep them fresh as they can. It's a different type of season, being. I just have this feeling that's why the board haven't reacted as quick as they could have done in a normal season where, the games are going thicker and faster now.
Yes. Obviously, staying tuned for other Leicester City content from Leicester Fan TV. Tom, appreciate you coming on. When's your next away fan show? I'm guessing it's after Brighton game now.
Yes. So, the Brighton one should have gone out today or tonight. I think it's going out, Jake was saying. Then obviously we're recording next Wednesday, building up to Aston Villa at home. Could be even bigger. It's been thick and fast the last few weeks, especially with the midweek games and everything recording. So now all good, but we do it for the fans. We enjoy doing it, and I hope you guys enjoy what we do for you.
And obviously make sure to check out the watch along if it is on Sunday. I'm not too sure, but make sure to check out Phil's show on the Monday night for another match review of the Brighton game. But appreciate it, Tom, and we'll catch you next time.
See you later, mate.
And there you go. That is a Man United match review. Appreciate all the comments, and we'll catch you all next time. Appreciate it, guys. See you in a bit. If I can get the outro going. There we go.
Thanks for watching Leicester Fan TV. Thanks to our sponsors, ADT Taxis, Everards, Pukka Pies, Pink Car Leasing, Leicester Riders, Hollogram, The Fox's Arms, Peter's Pizzeria, Hope Against Cancer, and Newby Co estate agents. Make sure to follow us on all of our social channels at Leicester Fan TV. Visit our website, leicesterfantv.com.